Okay, well hopefully the volume will work okay for this. We've got our little canvas. So the first thing we're going to do is we've got our paint colors that we've got in the bag. And we're going to take a brush, the largest brush you got. I'm going to use this one. It doesn't have to be pointed like this. It can be flat all the way across. That's fine. And then I'm going to dip in and get a big chunk of white. Mix it in with a little bit of blue on my palette. You can just use a paper plate or whatever you have that you don't mind getting paint on, and we're just going to spread it over the whole thing. Doesn't have to be perfect. There's going to be spots that are darker than others. That's fine. You don't have to mix in the paint really well, and you don't have to worry too much about how you're painting it. Just cover the whole piece with the blue. Oops. You can do it with it set down or on an easel or however works best for you in order to get this to work for the camera. I don't have a setup where I can do it from above, so I'm just gonna wing it. So we've got, it's kind of hard to see on the camera, but this is light blue. You can see it a little bit more in my finished pieces. There's just a couple different ways of doing the Santa Gnome, but we're going to want to put it on there and let that dry just for a minute to get that started. Just so you know, we are using Award Blue, just the regular black, red apple, and then I've got some titanium white. And you can use whatever colors you want in the future. I just had these available and enough to share, so that's what we're using. So after this dries a little bit, mine's not quite as dry as you might want yours, but we don't want to sit around and wait on the video while I do this. So then I'm going to take a little bit of white and I'm going to make a triangle. Same thing, this doesn't have to be perfect, just the general shape, you can see. And I'm going to take a little bit more white and I'm just going to kind of bring it down on the sides a little bit. Can you see that? Just bring it down. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can have rough edges. It's a beard, so it doesn't matter if it's all kind of all over the place. You can see there's different ridges in the white. That's fine too. I'm going to set that down and let that dry a little bit as well. Here's one of the finished pieces. You can see how the beard is kind of wisping away in different spots. You can do it like that. You can do a solid if you prefer. It doesn't matter. It's your painting. You can do whatever you want to it. Here's another one. It's a little bit different. Now there's some areas where they're going different directions, but it doesn't matter. Alright. And we've got our piece here. And we're going to take a rounder brush, less of the flat, and we're going to get some red. And we're going to make another triangle. Oops, I got it there, doesn't matter. I can always add more paint. And if it's dry, it'll cover it even better. And if you put a layer of paint in here and then you decide it's not enough, you want more paint, you want a thicker red, you can do that as well. Since this is on a video, you can just pause it and let it dry and put as much red as you want. You can choose to have a big curl. You can have it go to the right, you can have it go to the left, it doesn't really matter. Just kind of make an arch up and over. It almost looks like half a heart if you look at the shape here, if you're having a hard time knowing if you got the right angle. And they're all going to be a little different. They don't have to look like mine. They don't have to have a consistency. It's just a matter of what you put on there and what you like. Alright, so now we've got a hat. And normally I would sit and let that dry as well. But I'm going to take the red that's left on my brush, and then I'm going to get a little bit more white on this brush and mix them together so that I have a pink, because I want to make a pink nose. And it doesn't really matter what shade of pink. It'll probably be different every time I do it. But then we're going to go in and we're going to make a circle. And it might grab some of the red from the hat, and it might grab some of the white from the beard if they're not completely dry, and that's fine. It's two colors we're using, so you can just mix it together. And it makes a little nose. And then you can decide from this point how you want it to look. So on this one, I've just put a little smile and added some black polka dots to the hat. But maybe you don't want anything on the hat. Maybe you want just a red hat like this guy. And this guy's got eyes and a little mouth. Just so I can show you the different ways I did these, I'm going to do both. So I go back to my piece, and then I'm going to find where my smaller one is, and I'm going to just put a little line just really quick and make a smile. Now for the eyes, I want some really round circles, so I'm going to actually use the end of the brush and dip it in the paint just a little bit. You can see it's just a little bit, and then I'm just going to do one dot, and I'm going to dip it in the paint again and do another dot. So then you've got two eyes, and I'll repeat this technique on the snow that we'll be putting on in just a minute. In fact, I'll do that right now. Okay, so I got a different brush end, I've got some white paint, and then I just dip and put it on there. And you can put as many as you want, wherever you want. It'll be fine because it's snow and it goes wherever it wants anyway. And I didn't get enough there, so I'm just going to go back and just put in a few more. Because I did the other kind of snowflakes, I'm also going to go in with my white, and I'm just going to make a little X and put a line through the X. And they don't have to be perfect. You can see mine don't necessarily have straight points or anything like that. And we've got that there. Now if you want to go in, you can go in and add stripes to your hat. You can add polka dots. You can make it plaid. I think I will just do some stripes so you can see what stripes might look like, since I've already got an example of polka dots. And the polka dots I did just like the eyes with the back of the brush. And my line was a little wiggly, but that's okay. Just go back in. It is easier if you do let it dry between the different stages, because then you're going to have less of the color mixing together. But that is how we make the little Santa gnome. There are 3 different samples here. And I hope you enjoy.